There's a habit that feels very familiar, very small, very polite, and almost no one ever complains about it. You open with, "Sorry, can I ask something?" "Sorry, but I see it a bit differently." No argument, no visible discomfort, no negative reaction at all. But in that exact moment, you've already sent a clear signal, even if you never intended to. A small step back, a subtle act of self-reduction. The message isn't in the words themselves, it's in the posture behind them. "I'm not sure I have the right to speak here." You're not apologizing because you did something wrong. You didn't harm anyone, you didn't cross a boundary, you're doing something else, much quieter. You're asking permission to exist in the conversation. And the striking part is this: no one asked you to do that. We're often taught that apologizing is polite, mature, likable, and in many cases that's true, but only when an apology comes after a real mistake. Psychology points to an uncomfortable truth. When you apologize without cause, the other person doesn't hear politeness first. Their brain receives a different signal. This person is in a lower position. This person assumes they're already wrong. The issue is timing. You apologize before there's a reaction, before there's judgment, sometimes before there's even a mistake. At that point, the apology is no longer ethical. It becomes an act of self-positioning. In the Stoic spirit of Epictetus, people aren't weakened by external circumstances. They're weakened when they place themselves lower through very small actions, actions that seem harmless. Apologizing too much doesn't make you more humble. It quietly disqualifies your position before others even see who you are. True humility is not shrinking yourself. It's knowing exactly where you stand, and not pretending that place is smaller than it is. And once you see this, the mental axis begins to shift. Not, "Sorry, I'm about to say something," but "I speak with clarity and calm." There's a clear pattern among people who are calm and carry weight in conversation. They don't ask permission to be present. Strong leaders, speakers, and facilitators rarely open with an apology. Not because they're impolite, but because they understand one thing: clarity doesn't need a license. They don't say, "Sorry for taking your time." They say, "Thank you for being here." No force, no performance, just a way of entering the conversation slowly, steadily, and with weight. Many people only realize they've been shrinking themselves when they hear their own voice played back in a familiar meeting. Sorry for asking a question. Sorry for a different perspective. Sorry, just to be safe. No one demanded it, no one objected, but the body understands very clearly where it's placing itself. Until they try one small change. No apology, just appreciation. No conflict arises, no uncomfortable looks, only a deep internal shift, the feeling of no longer being an inconvenience. This is the core of practical language reset. Replace unnecessary apologies with appreciation. The rule is simple. Only apologize when there's real fault, when you're late, when you break a commitment, when you inconvenience someone. Everything else, use appreciation, not to decorate your words, but to reset your conversational posture. The one-to-one shifts are clear. "Sorry I'm late. Thank you for waiting. Sorry to bother you. Thank you for your time. Sorry if I'm wrong. I see the issue this way." You don't become colder, you become more precise. Application, very practical. For the next 24 hours, every time you're about to say sorry, pause for 1 second. Not to suppress yourself, just to ask one direct question. Am I correcting a mistake or am I shrinking myself? If there's no real fault, switch to appreciation. Then observe how others listen, how your voice slows and steadies, and most importantly, how it feels inside when you no longer ask permission to exist. Every unnecessary apology is a quiet vote cast against yourself. No one forces you to do it. You do it, gently, habitually, politely. But humility doesn't require you to become smaller. Politeness doesn't ask you to seek permission just to exist in a conversation. True calm doesn't come from speaking softer. It comes from standing firmly inside your own words. When you speak from that place, you don't need to defend, you don't need to please, and you don't need to retreat before you even begin. In the next video, we'll go deeper into setting boundaries through language, not rigid, not apologetic, but deeply respectful, just clarity, and enough stillness that there's nothing left to prove.